Hi, friends, and welcome to Tea Talk. Come on in, grab your favorite cup. Of course, I am drinking tea because it's my thing, but if it's not your thing, totally okay. Grab your favorite cup of whatever is. Come back, join me, let's talk. Lots of things I want to ask you guys about today. But first, let's do an introduction. My name is Tamika. I am the mouth of IG at Tamika Talks, and I'm the thought leader at Life and Pumps, where I am based in the Philadelphia area. And the purpose of Tea Talk is really for us to come together once a week, roughly under an hour, to really just talk about what's been going on in the news, things that are on your mind, things that are on my mind, and let's talk about it. If you have comments or questions, please make sure you post them. I will read and answer them as I go along as I can. Today, my tea of choice is a Tazo Zen, which is a green tea. I am in love with the green tea. I probably drink it every day, even if I have a different type of tea. The other thing that I added, someone had asked me last week about a sweetener. So I'm actually using a monk fruit sweetener because I am on this new year, new you, and I'm trying to be mindful of the sugar intake. So far, it's been pretty good. I thought I was going to have the jitters because I am a sugar addict. True disclosure, I love candy. I can't help it. And actually have not had any in a while. And surprisingly, I feel okay. I'm sure it has to do with also what I'm eating. And you guys know, hopefully you've been following me long enough. You guys know that I try to buy as much organic meat as I can. It makes a huge difference in the way your body feels and all of that overall. So that is the green tea from Tazo. And that monk fruit sweetener is by Lancato. Never had that. But no, I hope that's how you say it. But yes, it's really good. Let's look. So she's saying that she loves green tea. Oh, she says she has a sweetener. She hasn't tried it. You should definitely try it. Realistically, what happened is I was trying to find ways to not have to put sugar in my drink. I came across it. I got it at ShiftCon, if you've ever been to ShiftCon, which is a perfect organic conference for people who are looking to get more information on it. And I was like, you know what? Let me try it. I've had monk fruit in like Trader Joe's and stores of that nature. They've given it to me in samples, but I never really thought about it. So I tried it and I actually like it. There's no, so this one is basically 0 calories. It's a 1-to-1 sugar replacement. And what I like is it doesn't have an aftertaste. A lot of times when you are using a sugar replacement or a substitute, it gives you that bitter aftertaste. This doesn't. So definitely try it out. I'll make sure that I post a link to it below if you guys want to check it out. This Tazo tea, if you drink tea anywhere, you can pretty much get it. This one that I have is called Zen. Try it out. It's a green tea. It's their standard green tea. It's nothing fabulous, but I just love the way it tastes. If you're interested in my lovely Chewbacca cup, it's by Zach's. I'll make sure I post a link for that too as well if you guys are interested. But I wanted to come to you guys today as this is the last Thursday of January. And as I told you all before, the beginning of January was not necessarily the beginning, the middle of January. January 16th was a founding date for my sorority, and we were 100 years old. And throughout the month of January, I've been focusing on really not only talking about self-care, but really talking about your circle that surrounds you. So today we're going to kind of end that discussion with sisterhood. And so what I always tell people is that my mother and my father and God gave me 2 sisters, but I feel like my sorority taught me what sisterhood was. Now, here's why I say that. Growing up, I've always had lots of friends. And in fact, 2 of my childhood friends I still talk to. I still consider them my best friends. I don't know if they consider me that because we don't talk as often as we should. But I'm the type of person that, if you're my friend and we've been friends and we've been rocking out, I don't really need to pick up the phone and call you every day, every week. We can touch base once a month, every other month, whatever, but we still good. We all have so many things going on that I don't feel like it's important that we got to talk every day. But what I asked yesterday, I posed a question and I was asking about, I asked people if they were in a sorority, and then I asked them what the sisterhood looked like to them. And what I loved is that I felt like the answers were pretty across the board. Everyone had a different idea of kind of what sisterhood meant, but a lot of it centered on support. And so for me, I will give you my example. I definitely believe that sisterhood is about support. I feel like sisterhood and people who show sisterhood are those people who are going to ride or die for you no matter what is going on. And so I like that. And so that's one thing that sisterhood means to me. So my question to you all that are out there is, what does sisterhood mean to you? And if you're in a sorority, feel free to tell me what sorority. I'd love to know why you joined this sorority. And please don't just say it's the best sorority. I know if you are a Zeta, it's the best sorority. I know. We don't need to keep telling people, they get it. They know. And this month, I felt like we've done a great job in making sure that people knew. But I want us to do a deeper look into why we joined these organizations. And as a result, how did it change our view on sisterhood? So I became a Zeta at Temple University in 1995. I know that was such a long time ago. I was like 2. They let me go to college early because I was so smart. I was like 2. No, really, I was actually kind of old when I joined my sorority, surprisingly. I went through a process that we're not going to talk about because some of these processes are illegal, so that doesn't matter. But as a result, I gained a larger family. Now, with me, my line sister and we've known each other since we were in kindergarten. We went to elementary school together. We were Girl Scouts together. We've been so much together. So our process was probably a little different, but I still feel like just as a result of that process, we got to learn more about each other, know likes, dislikes, and really, I feel like she can kind of read me, I can kind of read her. And then I feel like as time went on, those people that have come into our circle have been a part of our circle, and not necessarily just my sorority sisters, but other women that I have embraced because of some type of commonality, be it Jack and Jill, be it my Drifter Sisters, or any of the other organizations that I'm a part of. I feel like what has happened is it has heightened me in ways that I think my sisters could, but there's a hierarchy in the family, and I'm the baby, so it's always like, oh, she's the baby, yeah. So a lot is not expected of me, which I'm fine with because I don't need to be having a lot of responsibilities. I'm so okay with that. But I feel like with sisterhood, everyone is kind of on an equal playing field. And when people don't view you on equal playing field, and that's kind of when you need to reevaluate your circle. But for the most part, I feel like we're all on the same playing field. And it's not about a financial status. Oh, how much money does this person have? Or where does this person live? How many kids? Oh, this person's not married. It's not about any of that. And I feel like sometimes what happens is when people see women, they feel like women are catty, we're bitter, and we're always in each other's faces and not being friendly or sisterly because of these things. Now that does happen. I'm not going to lie and say that there aren't women who form cliques and then they treat people badly or whatever. But those women aren't women you consider to be your friends. I feel like the people you consider to be your friends, you understand that this is my circle. These girls are providing sisterhood to me. And it had nothing to do with the fact that we're sisters and our mothers would beat us if we weren't, hanging out. So let me see some of the comments here. Hey, Tanya, how are you? Thanks for joining. So Spruce Hill Homestead, I like that name. Is saying sisterhood for her is having that person that you can tell all things to. Talk it out with zero judgment, not easy to find. Let me just tell you how you are so correct. Nothing for me beats a night in a hotel, because you guys know I like staying in hotels. And we do a girls' night. So I try to check into a hotel as often as I can, even if it's just because I need a me-cation where I kind of step back from my environment and, take time to reflect and, kind of get myself together. But a lot of times we do a girl sleepover. And at a girl sleepover, that is what we do. Like literally, we put pajamas on, we order room service, we get whatever. And once we get this food, we sit around in a room and we talk. It's like how, if you were ever in the Girl Scouts or, you had sleepovers when you were a kid, it's that type of thing. It's, it's about, oh, let's talk about our husbands. Everybody want to talk about the husbands, or if you have a boyfriend or what's going on in my kids' lives. And I feel like, now that we have a lot of Facebook groups where we're kind of able to do that. And it, kind of voids that one-on-one connection. But I encourage you that even if you are in these Facebook groups, if you have an opportunity, reach out to some of your girls and say, let's get a room for the weekend or for the night overnight. And let's just veg out. Let's talk. Let's watch Netflix. Me and some of my sorority sisters, we like to watch Chicago PD and Law and Order. Crazy story. We were in Jamaica and we spent large part of our trip watching Law and Order. I know, don't judge us, but we couldn't help it. It was our thing. We got roped in. We couldn't stop it. We were talking about it. It was great for us. I mean, it was our bonding moment. So I encourage people to definitely look into that. Okay, so Spruce Hill is saying that she was blessed with a biological sister by her parents and have found many other sisters by being a military wife. Yes, let me say that I love, love, love the network that you guys have as a military wife. I have a few friends who were military wives. Some of their husbands have retired, and then I have people in my family who were in the military, and of course, they've since retired. But I just love the way you guys rally around one another. And I don't know if you guys remember that commercial at Christmas where the mom basically sent a text. She was actually the military person. She sent a text to the community like, listen, I'm not gonna be able to get there to get my kids decorations and gifts. I need help. And they rallied. And so I love to see that. That to me is a wonderful example of sisterhood. So she's saying, sadly, no sorority life for her, but that's okay. Let's see. Looks like it's just someone named Justin Bieber. That's funny. It's saying he don't know how he jumped in here, but have a nice Thursday. Well, you have a wonderful Thursday too, Justin Bieber. And I understand you're going on tour in Philadelphia. Have an amazing tour. Who knows? Tiffany, hey, how are you? So let's see what she's saying. So Tiffany is saying about sisterhood is accepting her for her flaws and checking me when I'm wrong. That's grown folk talk, Tiffany, because what happens is a lot of us, we're not truthful to the people like we should be. And I'm sure you guys have all seen it. You're out in the street and you see somebody and she with her friends and maybe all her friends look real good. Like they have on, and when I say real good, I don't mean in terms of the face per se. Like I don't mean like they're beautiful. I mean in terms of like their clothing, like it's neat, it's put together, and they're looking good. And then somebody comes behind them and you're like, ooh, what's that all about? And the first thing that comes to your mind is they're not her friends. What I found is that sometimes you can check your friends on certain things and they don't care. So it is what it is, but that is a good example of checking somebody and seeing how the friendship goes. So me, I am an open book. Sometimes people are like, that was really raw. You didn't need to tell them that way. I'm not really good at sugarcoating things. And sometimes I feel like the best way to give it to you is to give it to you straight. So that way you can't say that you didn't hear it or misunderstood what I was saying, because I did not sugarcoat it. And I think that's important. And that's about sisterhood. If we are claiming this sisterly circle, then there's no reason that I can't talk to you honestly and you can't talk to me. Now, of course, it is about doing it at the right time in the right place. I shouldn't be in public and you shouting me out, saying something bad to me amongst people that aren't even necessarily in our circle or shouldn't be involved in it. Think about it as an intervention. You wouldn't have an invention. I can't even talk. An intervention with somebody in the middle of a shopping mall surrounded by people who don't love and really want to protect them. So I think that that's something really important to think about. Tiffany also loves Law and Order. Yes, who doesn't love Law and Order? But if you're not watching all the Chicagos, you're missing out. I've become such a huge addict of all the Chicagos. It started with Chicago PD, Med, and then I watch Chicago Fire. So they all intertwine at some point. So check that out. Side plug, of course. Yes, Tiffany is also saying that she appreciates she appreciates the hard loving truth. And she says she stayed giving stories the side eye. Absolutely. Like, it's okay. And some people don't respond to it well. And, a lot of us have our reasonings behind why that, they don't process that well. It's not about being mean and malicious, but sometimes some things do have to be said. So while we're talking about sisterhood, I posed a question to people day before yesterday. I don't even know. My days are all running together. And I asked them, if you're at work and your coworker is wronged by their boss, would you say something? Now, there were a lot of people who were like, yes, I absolutely would. And then there were a handful of people who were like, no, I'm going to mind my business. And then there were those people who I love who won't just give me a yes or no answer. They need more information. Those are the thinkers. They're like, well, what's the scenario? Did I witness it? What happened? And I think a lot of all of that is true. Absolutely. So those are the things that you have to think about. So part of the reason why I posed this question is Terry Crews. If you've been following the news or paying attention in any way, you have seen that basically women are calling to cancel Terry Crews. So apparently, I've been trying to get caught up on this. He is, so the backstory, got it, Tiffany. Let me give you the backstory. So the backstory for Terry Crews is this. So he is one of the hosts for America's Got Talent. So that's AGT. short. That's how I'm gonna say it, so I don't have to keep saying America's Got Talent. So he is one of the hosts, and apparently, Gabrielle Union was basically ousted. Like she left the show behind racism and sexism allegations. Now, there's a lot been said. Like some people were saying that they said stuff about her hair. They said some things about her attitude. I guess when they were in the production room and things they were doing. So people felt like in the midst of all this, Terry Crews should have come to her defense. Should he or should he not? So my first question, as I'm reading about this and really getting to know what was going on, was, well, why Terry Crews? Why not any of the hosts that were seated with her at the table? So apparently part of that was they felt like people felt like he needed to come to her protection because he's an African-American male, and because, I'm not sure if you guys remember, but he was a part of the Me Too movement. He talked about how he was at an event and one of the TV executives grabbed him by the gonads and, how it made him feel and all of that. So he was very big in the Me Too movement, or not necessarily big. He was coming out in the Me Too movement in support of the women. And then when men were like, dude, you're too big. How you let somebody do that to you? They should have, you should have just decked them. Everybody's offering these comments because it's not you happening to. So it's easy to make a comment when it's not you. So as a result of that, women, Black women especially, were really coming to defense. Like, no, it's not about your size. It's not about any of that. It's not about what you wear. It's not about any of that. It's about the fact of how he felt, and it was wrong. So what do you guys think? Okay, so listen. All right. Okay, so let's first, Spruce Hill basically says she is so happy when her friends are honest with her. They tell her what's up so she know and help her be her best. Absolutely. That was our sisterhood talk. Absolutely. You want your friends to be their best. Whatever you can do, help them be their best. And you're not a true friend if you don't help them be their best. All right. So Tiffany says she's an EEO rep and she needs both sides. Absolutely. And that's where I was. I was like, well, I can't make a decision on who I'm with because I don't really know what happened. And truth be told, we still don't really know. We just got bits and pieces of the story. So Carrie, hey, Carrie, how are you? So she said Terry Crews spoke his truth. He never said that Gabrielle Union was lying. We all deal with our employers differently. So I went back and I have been trying to find where he came out and where he said whatever. And I didn't see anything where he said that she lied as well either. Now, for the men, a lot of the men who made the comment was like, I'm gonna mind my business because blank being their wife, not having that. So I had to laugh because, happy wife, happy life. Because what happens is when you stir the pot, you know what happens. A lot of times that pot stops stirring. And somebody could be out of a job. Now, I don't know Terry Crews' situation. I don't know financially how he was. What I do know is because he was in Philadelphia a few weeks ago when I had the opportunity to interview him, he loves America's Got Talent. One of the things that he loves about the show is the diversity on it. I mean, if you've ever watched the show, there are people from all walks of life, all colors who are coming on this show and basically showcasing their talent. And in the midst of them showcasing their talent, they're also telling you what their backstory is, like how they got there. Like the one story that literally had me in tears. And I don't usually cry about shows like that. I actually watch them because I think they're funny because normally I don't think people have talent. The show was about this guy and this particular gentleman was performing and he talked about how he was separated from his family when he was little and he was on this mission to try to find them. And then he went on the show, whatever country he was from, when they were touring in that particular country, and the people helped him try to find his family. And so when he got moved up to this one, because this is the champion show, where basically they're pulling in all the champions from around the world, his family found him and it was like a great reunion. And he showed where he had been living and how he had been living outside, and he would get rice from his neighbors if they would feed him. But what I need y'all to know is this man opened his mouth to sing. And I wasn't watching. I walked by, how when you're watching TV and not really watching TV, you're in the midst of doing other things. And so I saw him start to tell his story. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm listening, but I'm doing something else. When he started singing, I had to run to the TV because I was like, who is that? This man has a beautiful voice, but it doesn't feel like it would have gone on a man. I mean, when I tell you he was hitting these notes, I would not be surprised if he does not go on. And they wanted to give him that special award, which basically means he's not subjected to the voting round, but he was the first act. And they're like, well, we can't give it to the first act. Oh my God. But he was amazing. So when Terry Crews was here in Philadelphia, we talked about that. And he talked about just how it makes him feel. And because he is the one with these people behind the scenes and the backstage, he really gets the full story. Like, we get a snippet of their story. He's getting the full story. And the one thing he mentioned was diversity. And that's what he loved about it. And so now people are mad at him because he said the only person he has to answer to is Rebecca. And I'm sorry, as a wife, he is correct. She is the only one he has to answer to because she like, listen here, you out here doing this and doing that, you need to bring them checks home. So I'm not mad at that. I don't think it was a dig to Gabrielle Union per se. And I guess that's how people are taking it. I think it was a statement. Like, listen, the only person I need to answer to is Rebecca. And I feel like if his wife is not saying, let's figure this out, let's do something more, then we kind of got to be okay with it. Like, I get he's a celebrity, but sometimes we're in people's business is way too much. Now, Gabrielle Union, like people have been tweeting to her and kind of, taking a stand on her. Like, hey, listen, you were wronged. He should have supported you. And she hasn't come out and made like a comment per se about him, but she responds to the tweets like, yeah, half this girl. I see you. I see you. I see you. And when you think about it, that is what we want. But as women, that's what we do. I don't know that men do that. I don't know that men are like, yeah, bro, I got you. I don't know that that's who they are. I just feel like as women, we are nurturers. So we always feel like we have to protect one another. I don't know if that's a flaw or not, but I don't know. So Tiffany said the experience, his experience is not hers. Right. And that's exactly what he said. He did say that, he hasn't experienced any of that. And so in my question, when I was asking everyone on Facebook about what would they do, that was the question that a lot of people had. Well, did I witness it or is it hearsay? And then some people were getting deep down like, what's their work ethic? Are they a good employee? Have they done this before? Is this their MO? Like, how are they as a person? And I do believe that some of those things have to come into play. But of course, the way this is playing out in the media is not about that. All right, let's see. So Spruce Hill is saying that she's still trying to catch up on the story, but immediately felt like the other people on the panel should have been the first to step up. I agree, because my thought was, from what I read, is that a lot of this talk was happening during like production meetings and slight remarks or things that was being said. Now, I could be wrong. I'm just telling you guys what I read and what I kind of deduced from it. And so I don't think Terry Crews would have been in those meetings because his role on the show is very different. Now, I could be wrong. I don't know. So don't come tweeting me telling me I'm a woman basher, because I'm not. Gabrielle Union is actually my girl, which is why this was really hard. I love that she took a stand, and I feel like, she's at a place in her life, in her career, where she's like, you know what? I'm not going to let anybody do me wrong, whether I like this job or I want to be on this job or not. And so I appreciate that. And I think that is a lesson for us, for something that we all want to aspire to, because not very many of us are in a position that we can take that type of stance. And so I think it was great that she did it. She stood for what she believed in, and what she believes is what she believes. It doesn't matter what other people believe unless someone was physically sitting right there and she said, well, he said XYZ, and they're like, no, that's not what happened. So what do you guys, tell me, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? Let's see. So Spruce Hill is saying, as far as Terry Crews, she's not sure. Maybe more happened than we know. Right. And that's what I said too. I was like, because the way people were going at it, I was like, okay, there has to be more. So literally, I've been like researching this, because right after I interviewed him, he went to New York 2 days later, and they were like, Twitter was going bananas. And he was on The View, and they talked to him about it on The View. And that's when he was kind of like, listen, I have to answer to my wife. Nobody else. I have to answer to my wife. Of course, God. But I have to answer to my wife. And because he was so open and honest, like, I was just like, I don't know. He told us about his porn addiction. He told us about, basically what happens in their marriage, and, just some things. And some things that he shared with us. And he even got to the point where he was like, I'm glad my wife is not here, because she would be like, you share way too much. But he was very comfortable with us. So he was like, just giving it. Whatever we asked him, he was just dishing it. He was giving it. I hope that him and Gabrielle Union can mend whatever this is. And it doesn't continue to escalate. And I feel like, because it's in the media, what happens. The media escalates things. But thinking about that, you see there have been a lot of tweets that have been like, cancel Terry Crews, or Terry Crews is this. So let's talk about that cancel culture, guys. And if you don't know what I mean, that's basically that mentality where something happens and we basically don't allow people to own the mistake and move on, we are immediately like, no, you're out of here. You're out of here. So that reminds me of the newscaster who made the statement when she was reporting out about Kobe Bryant, and we will talk about that at the end because I know that's going to have me emotional. Who made the statement about Kobe Bryant and the LA Lakers, and she said something else in whatever. There's been a lot of controversy behind whether or not she said the right thing, if she said what she said, or if she said what people heard. I don't really know. I heard the recording. My mind was just going through so much that I really just didn't know. But people are like, fire her, fire her, fire her, fire her, fire her, fire her. So in the case of this, if you look at the events and kind of the way they played out, I feel like what I saw is that she said what she said and she realized that she messed up. And I feel like immediately when they came back, she was gone. And so I don't know if the people in the production booth heard it and they were like, oh shit, we're in trouble. We got to fix this. Or if she was like, I need to take a step back and get myself together. I don't know what happened, but it was crazy just the way the events happened. And if you look at other people who basically have been canceled or attempted to be canceled, let me say that, where, people have gone to Twitter, they have hosted like petitions, like cancel this one. And, there's a joke that we always say, the black delegation gives back whomever, and we take this person. So what do you all think about that? So here's my thought on this cancel culture. I feel like what happens with this cancel culture is oftentimes we are not allowing people to own their mistakes. What we're saying is it is not okay to make a mistake. You're perfect. You are a person in the media. I see you, or you're a personality, and you're flawless. And we don't ever want anybody to feel like they're flawless because they're not. Now, if somebody did something wrong and they're like, yeah, I said it, I don't care, that's different. But if someone says something and they apologize, I'm not saying being quick to forgive, because no, sometimes we do that too much. What I'm saying is don't be so quick to cancel them out. Maybe sometimes we should do a little background on them. Let's see, if what's happening is really what's happening before we're like, no, off with their heads. Because listen, y'all, we are mean and brutal. I'm telling you, if you guys have not read any of the tweets about the lady who made the mistake, I'm not even gonna say her name. You need to, because yeah, some of them have been crazy. And then even today, I was watching on the news, and the lady who wrote American Dirt, basically people are like, you shouldn't have written that book. And we don't like it. And apparently she's getting death threats. They had to cancel her book tour. So basically she's claiming to be Latino. I don't know if she is or not. A Latina. I don't know if she is or not. But it's basically about an immigrant, and people are just saying, we're tired of you making money off this culture that you don't know anything about. I completely get it. And then what happened is, it's on Oprah's book club. So, that means that this book is going to be out of, like she's going to make millions of dollars off of this book, because if Oprah puts her stamp on it, you guys know what happens. So people are like, no, cancel her, cancel her, cancel her. And I'm just like, my God, if we keep canceling people, we're not going to have anybody. So that's something for you guys to think about. The other thing that we're going to talk about now. First, we are going to, I feel like we should just have a moment of silence for Kobe Bryant, Gigi, the Bryant family, and all those other families that were affected by the helicopter crash. So we'll have our moment of silence now. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that. So yeah, let's first talk about just kind of this whole idea of when someone passes, we bring up everything that's ever happened in their past. So this week, we all know it's been all over the news. Kobe Bryant, his daughter, and some friends were in a helicopter. The helicopter crashed. Everyone perished as a result of the crash. So immediately it went out. And I hate this idea that everybody's trying to be the first one to share the news. So there's been a lot of backlash with TMZ because of that, because people feel like they put it out there before the family knew. And now they're saying that's not what happened, that Vanessa was actually at the basketball game. So she knew before TMZ put it out. what had happened. I don't really know whether or not it did or not, but that's why people go to TMZ, guys, because they want to know the news. And TMZ is going to be in business because we always want to know. So I am sitting at lacrosse with my son. He's playing, and then next thing I know, my phone is going off like crazy. So I look down, I read the message, and I'm like, this can't be true because the games are playing. So I'm like, well, ESPN is playing. This can't be true. And as I'm saying, this cannot be true. Within 10 minutes, it flashes on the bottom of the screen. They come in. I see it on all the news channels that I watch online and things of that nature. I'm like immediately like, oh my God, like I gotta get myself together. Like I can't cry because I know my son is gonna be looking at me. I don't want him to see me cry. I don't want to mess up his game. I don't want to get in his head. So as the parents, some of us who are still sitting on the inside, we're like, okay, we're not gonna tell our children until this is over. Well, three kids come in and go to the bathroom. They're like, hey guys, did you hear? And we're like, yeah. Apparently a parent had screamed it across the field to his son. Not sure why he thought that was relevant because he should not have. That was not the time that his son needed to hear that. And yeah, I feel like, there's a time and a place for everything because maybe there were some parents who wanted to tell their children differently. Like you didn't know whether or not anybody on that field was personally related to him. I mean, my last name is Brian. He could be my brother, my cousin. Well, not my brother because I'm a Brian by marriage, but he could be related to me. And so you don't know what effect that could have had. So that's the first thing. We have to be mindful of sharing news sometimes, guys. Sometimes it's way too much. The second thing is I am appalled at the amount of people who thought the first thing to say was, yeah, he's a rapist. I don't know why that was relevant. One girl was on a rant, like a serious rant. And she's like, this is triggering for me. People are celebrating and saying how good of a man he was, how great man he was. He was a rapist. He was a rapist. He was a rapist. So people are like, okay, calm down. Okay, like, we're not telling you to feel how you feel, but that's not what people need to read right now. I mean, when I tell you people everywhere were in mourning, like whether they knew him personally or not, so many of us have followed his game, especially in the area where I live. I mean, literally, like where he grew up is like 20, not even 20 minutes from me. And so I just felt like, a time and a place for everything. Like you have every right to feel how you want to feel about him. Like that's not my issue, but you don't have to voice everything. And then she became so, I mean, like it was belligerent. Like she was just going on a rampant, like every other post that she wrote. And she's like, if you don't care, unfriend me. Da, da, da. So, I did. Cause I was like, you know what? I don't need this in my life. Like it was already a lot, me processing what happened. And then as the reports, as all the rumors were going out, they were saying Rick Fox. And I was like, Rick Fox, what? Oh my God. And then it was, oh, his daughters. And it was like all his daughters. I was like, oh my God, his whole family. Where was the wife? I'm like, she just had a baby. She probably wouldn't have been on a helicopter. I'm like, oh my gosh, she just lost her whole family. Like so much was going on. And you didn't even have time to catch up and catch yourself because this was just constantly thrown at you. So we came to find out, what actually happened or allegedly happened and who was on the plane. And it was hard. And I feel like, as a parent, it was really hard because, our job is to protect our kids. So many people started saying, in that final minute, when they realized there was nothing they could do, what did they do to their children? So I have so many emotions just about all of this, and I've been processing it, and it's hard. I mean, it's extremely hard. But I just want to remind you guys of that. Let me see. Let's get some comments here while I'm getting myself together. So Spruce Hill is saying, yes, she would not have told my kiddo at that exact moment. I agree. Like, I mean, come on. Yes. She says, and early on, immediately, she didn't know if it was true or false. Right. Because if you came on social media, you would see that so many people were like, TMZ is reporting that Kobe Bryant died. Is that true? And because a lot of people don't view TMZ as a news source, because really it's not, they were like, wait a minute, that couldn't be true. But when you think about it, they ain't gonna post nothing like that. That's a major lawsuit. But it was crazy. And so she says, yeah, she hates that people look for something bad immediately. If you want to talk about his faults, let's do that later. Let's give people a moment to mourn. Absolutely. And that's also, me and her got into a little match because that's all I said. I said, you have every right to feel how you feel. This is your Facebook page. You can write whatever you want to write. However, what I need you to do is allow people to feel how they feel. You went through the trauma that you went through, which is why this is triggering for you. So take time and get yourself together. Maybe posting on Facebook is not what you need to be doing. If you need to write it down, get your journal, write it all out, do something to that effect. But you didn't need to come on there and put that out there like that. And I feel like, she lost a lot of people that she was cool with. She's actually a blogger, so I don't know how that's going to play out in the end. But yeah, like everything don't need to go immediately, and a lot of people were like, right, look, there we have it. Exactly what I was going to say. Everybody knows that girl went to the room and cashed in. So that was the discussion when it was happening. The crazy part is so she posted the statement that he read as a result of them dropping the charges. And so I said, that statement was put together under duress. And she's like, what do you mean? The charges were already dropped. Da, da, da. I said, well, in the same article that you're quoting, it says that the contingency of him getting off and not having to go to trial to save his life, basically, because he was looking at like 25 years, is that he would write a letter apologizing. I said, and that's what he did. I said, and if you read in the letter, he's like, I'm sorry that you're saying that basically you didn't consent, but I thought it was consensual. So it's not like he said, yes, this is what I did. There's still a lot of gray area that people don't know and won't ever know, because part of the settlement is her family can't say anything. She can't say anything. So come on, we have to stop it. We have to stop it. Right. So Kia's even saying here, Kobe maintained that he thought it was consensual the entire time. That has never changed. And then go forward, people are like, oh, he did it. That's why he bought his wife that ring. No, he bought his wife that ring because he had sex with her and he was wrong. He's still married and he still did have adultery. Like, I mean, come on, we got to look at that. He was still a married man. He wouldn't have sex with another woman. Come on. And see it how you want to see it. My understanding is this young lady, her family was not, they were not in need. Apparently, she's from a well-off family, so she may not have needed the money. I don't know. It could have been that people found out and she was ashamed. There's so many things that go on with this. And I remember when this story was happening, and this is something that I talk to boys about all the time, because I'm like, don't be in rooms with these girls by yourself. The world is very different now. People are very quick to be like, oh, XYZ happened. And I'm not saying that this girl did not feel like she was raped. That's not my story. But what I'm saying is that things a lot of times get misconstrued. And the best way to avoid something being misconstrued is that if you're not by yourself, there's a witness with you. So I tell my son, because he is about to be of college age, pray for me, guys. I'm like, listen, you are lovable. Everybody wants to hang out with you, but you are not, I repeat, not to be alone in a room with a girl by yourself. If you are not married, if she is not your wife, your fiance, no, I'm sorry. No, you can't do it. I was like, so we need to talk about it. Like, we need to figure this out, because I know that that's just not realistic. But I've been showing him these cases where, listen, this is what's happening. And a lot of times what ends up happening is the girl is embarrassed, especially in like fraternities and things. You see that a lot. The girl is embarrassed because she didn't think anybody was going to find out. Now they know, and look what's happening. Yeah, so that's my message to my son all the time. I see when he's been doing these sleepaway camps, I'm like, listen, I don't need it. I don't need the phone call. So Spruce Hill is saying she got to say in her younger years, she did stupid stuff, super stupid, not proud. And I wonder, reading about this girl, if that was a moment she realized that her choices were bad. You know what? You're not alone on that. I mean, absolutely. What I feel bad for her is that she got dragged through the media. I mean, they dragged her. I'm not even going to lie. I mean, that's what he paid the attorney to do. Pull up whatever dirt they could find on her and be very clear in that, listen, this is what she did. They brought up that she had like mental health issues, that she had been using drugs previously, that she had all these sex partners, which the reality is none of that has anything to do with the case. But it's what the attorneys were paid to do. So of course they were going to bring all that up. And I realized that it's not fair. And apparently somehow or another her name got leaked. So that's how people knew it was her. So it was a big thing. And I felt really bad for her. And I hope mentally she is okay. People were saying that she moved away. Her family felt like they needed to move away because of all of the news or whatever. So I'm not really sure if that's what happened. But I felt bad for her because I was like, wow, like, I know. That's why I said I am so grateful to God that I did not grow up in the social media age. And we talk about this all the time. Like, me and my friends, when we get together, like I told you how we do these hotel stays or whatever, we talk about that all the time. Like, oh my goodness, what would have happened if social media was around. Like, we took pictures, and I got pictures of some pictures I can't find, and there are pictures that we remember taking. And we're like, who has that picture? And we're like, I don't know. They were like, it better not surface. So social media is so point. Everybody wants to share every minute of their life. And what happens is a lot of times that brings a backlash. So I don't know if she realized that it was not the right thing to do. Literally, I can't think of anybody that could honestly say that they have not done something that they weren't proud of. And once it kind of was found out, you kind of didn't know what to do. So I don't know if he did it or not. What I do know is the day after he died, or the day he died, was not the time for us to be talking about it. And when I asked another person, because I've been unfriending a lot of people this week, I asked her, I said, well, this isn't the first time he's been in the media being celebrated. Like, he was celebrated when he retired. He's been celebrated because, when they announced that basically in 2020 he could be eligible for the Hall of Fame. Like, he's been in the media. People have been interviewing him and talking to him because Gigi is him. It's crazy how she's him. So she is him. So people have been talking to him about that, hence the term girl dad, which is how they came about. Because people have been asking him that he want a boy. And he's like, no, I would have 5 more girls. I love it. I love it. He's a girl dad, like my dad. I love it. So I'm like, there have been numerous opportunities for you to talk about everything that he's done. But you've never done any of that. And now that he's dead, this is what you choose to say. And today, I was like, people are mourning him. And I said, Black men especially are hurting. Because, Kobe, like, people looked up to him. They loved him. Even if they weren't as old as him or whatever, people appreciated, what he's done, his journey. And I'm like, let people mourn. Let them mourn. Let them mourn. If next week you feel like you need to do it, that's fine. But some stuff just does not need to go on there. So look, we got some haters on here who saying Kobe is crispier than a 5-piece. I mean, really, get a life, please. Get a life. Let's see. Oh, hi, Natalie. So Natalie is saying it's hard and devastating. She's from LA, and Kobe is a part of my home memories. Riding down the Shaw, celebrating all our championships, going to the games. I was at the video shoot when they met. Wow, that is crazy. Right. So those are the memories that you have, and you don't need all that other stuff and just clouding you. So let's see. Spruce Hill is saying it could have been an ego thing for her. We all have that problem. He was a big catch. I don't know her motivation, but man, for the men in this world, it sure is a difficult thing to navigate. It really is. I mean, and that's part of the reason why I was like, why would you tell these boys who are out here, really like gearing up, trying to be the Kobe of lacrosse, what just happened? Like, why are you getting into their heads like that? Like, people, I just don't understand. But it goes back to what I said. And then Autumn, sorry, she's saying she tells her sons the exact same thing. Yeah, and I've been telling people, a lot of times y'all are like, oh, these boys. No, it's these girls y'all gotta watch out for. And I have a daughter, so don't think that I'm just bashing girls. I have a daughter. I have nieces, and I talk to them about this all the time. Be mindful of the situations you put yourself in. And I remember when my nieces were younger, and everybody doesn't want to tell their parents everything. And I would say to them, listen, if you are ever in a situation and you feel unsafe and your friends want to stay there and do whatever, you text me the code word and where you at, and I'm coming to get you. I'll send a cab for you, because I don't think Uber was around at this point. But I will make certain that you get out and that you're safe. And I think those are things that are very important, because I feel like peer pressure nowadays is so hard, and these kids are trying to navigate it, and they're not always navigating it the right way. Yes, she said they sure did drag her. Yeah, it was ugly. She said, but since she believed there was consent, I don't blame him for going full guns. She said she's the mother of sons, 26, 16, and 13, and that stuff scares the crud. Wow, I can only imagine how scared. Yeah. I mean, it's hard. It's really hard. I mean, being a parent is hard. Sometimes you're like, I just want to put these kids in a bubble. My God, like, I can't take it. Let's see. Oh, she said, what blogger? I'm gonna tell you. I will tell you offline, because I don't want to. I'm not here to bash people, but I will tell you offline if you want to know who it is. Because we are not friends anymore. I totally deleted that. Yes, and she agrees that it's the girls. Yes, it is the girls. And so I think that so many times the conversations that we have with the girls is that they So I feel like so many times the conversation that we have with these girls is, be mindful of the boys. And, we're giving them these conversations, but we're not giving them the flip side. And I think the other side is, be mindful of the situation that you put yourself in. So we have to extend this conversation, not just to the girls, but to the boys. Like, we all need to be talking about this, because this is a bigger problem that just everybody is facing, because, no one wants to be made ashamed of. No one wants to be put out there like that. People are doing things and they kind of think it's going to be in secret. It never is. So just be mindful. It's all about the conversation. Yes, Natalie, I see that this person is like saying this stuff to you. He's not worth the here we go. He won't say anything else. He's not even worth the aggravation. So don't even feel like you need to comment to him. So Spruce Hill is saying she does not have girls, so she tried to be cautious in what she says and what she says. But the world has changed a little bit in a weird way. It has. I'm telling you, I remember the conversations that like my family had with me when I was younger. Like, I was always out in the street running around. My sisters are older than me. So, my friends were the people that were out in the street, basically, because most of my sisters were in college. And so I remember the conversations they would have with me, that whole put the dime or the quarter in your pocket so you can use the payphone. Make sure that you're ladylike, don't be mean. Like, there are conversations that they had that were cute. You know what I mean? And then it became, times have changed, and I'm like, this is different. And I'm honestly, I'm gonna be full honest with you guys. I did not realize how things had changed until I was at the pool one time with my son, and he was, playing with his friends. A group of girls walked by, and they're chatting. They didn't know who I was. I had on a hat. I'm sitting on the beach chair, on the pool chair, poolside. And the one girl was like, "Oh, look who that is." And she said my son's name. And so the girl was like, "Well, who's that?" And she was like, "Oh, he is this hot African-American boy. I would totally do him." I sat up. I was like, what? What I need y'all to know is my son was in like the 6th grade. The last thing he was thinking about was doing a girl. So I was like, what? So I asked him who she was. And he's like, "Oh, that's just some girl in my class." I says, "Oh, well, do you talk to her?" He was like, "I mean, yeah, when I see her." Like, he had no interest. He had no clue. He was not thinking about her. Him and his friends was trying to play the name. Basically, I was getting on his nerves asking him. He was trying to they were playing some game in the water. So when I tell you at that point, my eyes was like, I've been hearing this, but I just didn't want to believe it. And then fast forward a few years ago, I see the same girls, the same girl, and she's with her dad and her mom. And her mom, so I feel like the dad and the mom were actually at the pool that day as well. And like, they spoke to my son and whatever. They were friendly. They didn't hear her say what she said. At least I don't think they did. I don't know about that. But we see them later. And so, the girl, my son is 6'4". So the girl is like, "Hey, how you doing? How are you? What school?" She's asking them questions. And so, I was cordial. I said hi. I spoke to the parents. The look the dad had on his face had me laughing, because he was probably sizing my son up like, he big. I don't know if I can take him. But yeah, I need to have a talk with my daughter about this. Right. Because, and I always say, they're real cute when they're little, but they're not so cute when they're big and adult looking size. And so for me, that goes back to the conversations that we have with our daughters, because the conversation he probably had with her was not about, don't put yourself in an uncompromising position. That's not the conversation he probably had with her. It was probably, you watch out for that boy. You see him, he a big boy. He got other things on his mind. Well, how you know what she got on her mind? So I think those are the things that we got to think about. Don't just assume. It needs to be a conversation for all parties, girls and boys, because it's not just the boys nowadays, guys. I'm telling you. Yeah, she agrees. Open and honest talk, real talk. Tell your kids what's up and help them through all of this. Let them know how to avoid getting into a bad situation. Absolutely. And we have to do that. Just as parents, I feel like when we don't, we are doing our children a disservice. So before we end, I want to send out my prayers yet again to Vanessa Bryant, the Bryant family, and all of those families that have been affected by this helicopter crash. If you guys did not see, she opened her Instagram account back up. She made it public and she made a post, and she's hurting. She's hurting, guys. So let's stop all of the bad talk and comment on her post. Let her know that we're thinking of her. This is hard. Your husband leaves and doesn't come back home. Your daughter leaves and doesn't come back home. Like, it's different. We know people die, but it's different when it's like they've been sick for a long time. So you're kind of like, okay, now they're not sick, so I don't have to worry about them. But what we're talking about now is somebody who she was waiting for. and they just didn't show up. Like, I don't ever want to experience that pain. And, my husband travels a lot. Like, he's in London right now. And I just thought about, like, what would happen if they called me? And I don't even want to think about it. So please, please, please keep them in your prayers, send them some messages, and just let them know that we're thinking about them. And we hope that at some point it just gets a little easier. The poor baby will never really know her dad or her sister, only through the memories. And don't let her go online and she Google her sister and then she sees some bad stuff. Like, let's be mindful of that. Let's be good humans. Absolutely. So yes, Natalie is talking about the pictures. Yeah, like, I looked and I couldn't look for a long time. It was a lot for me. It was a lot. It was a lot. And Spruce Hill is saying that could have been any of us any day. Yes, let's support her, send her love, and think of her in good ways. Absolutely. Think of her in good ways and be good humans. Well, guys, I want to thank you all for joining me today on Tea Talk. I will be back next week. I'm finalizing a guest, so the topic of conversation may be a little different. I'm actually going to be in Chicago next week at the Chicago Auto Show. So if there's some cars you guys want to see, let me know. But have a great day, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.